I'm sorry about that, guys. I had my mic off there, which obviously doesn't help. And nobody told me. So we are now running from our SSD. And we are actually ready to start a little test. And that test is going to be to test out our research awards. Okay, so let's get this show on the road, shall we? And finally, we do our research. And spin these around. That's ready. We select research. We select iron. And we select that. Now we've got to check to see if this is, and it is bauxite. So that's all good. So we can now start joining these up. Okay. And that's about the first time, one of the first times ever that I've been running around nearly late to start the stream. I was doing basic things and copying files and doing all sorts of stuff there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do that. And we should be able to hit our button here to speed things along. Give me just 1 second. Right. Oh, we've got to set research. So we're setting it to mining. Was it mining or was it refining? Darn it, I've forgotten. Could be any of them. Right, but we shall carry on with this. What did we actually start researching? Mining, okay. So we should be able to speed it up. And we should be able to check our resource, or sorry, our research, which is going well. That's looking good so far. speed up again. And there we go with mining 1. Okay, now we should be able to do mining 2. And our stuff should be slightly closer, and it is. See how these aren't quite, these should be set exactly one piece apart, but they're not, and that's because we've got a 10% speed boost. Okay, and now if we now check our research here, this one's now working. And we've got to say that this is going pretty well. Everything's working up until now. There goes another research, and another. We can check the speed. It's just about done. And there is mining 2. And we should be able to select mining 3. Close that. And these should now be even closer, which they are. And you'll notice now our cycle speed is 1.2. Right. And the interesting thing here is that we could have done, right, there's our mining 3, okay, we should get a slight pause, and now these should be even closer together. So those are now feeding really pretty fast, and if we go to smelting and research that, okay, and this should, I think this kind of proves it works. Right, smelting 1. Smelting 2. So we should start getting faster. Yep, those are definitely faster. Hi Kofi, how are you mate? How's it going today? So we can check on research here. And have I done smelting? That is the question. It looks like I haven't. I haven't set up smelting. I think I just set up. Well, let's have a look, shall we? Oh, I'm good. All good today. I would say we're on form. So we need DT research requirements, and we haven't done refining, and we haven't done smelting, so we're not going to be able to select those, right? Which is fine. Right, but you can see that everything is working. All our stuff is basically working. Right, so we could basically set these up with the same requirements here, right? And that'll be our, well, basically the proof of concept that our system works, right? That we are definitely getting the benefits of doing the research, right? So once we make like a type 2 research, then we can just basically change these over, right? And once we change them over, then that'll be that. It'll be as simple as doing that. It's changing these values here in the database, right? And we shall basically have our research progression. Okay? But in the meantime, if we set these all up, we should be able to basically research anything. The only one that's not going to do anything is the probes. I haven't set the probes up to do anything yet regarding when they actually get when one of them's complete. But as I said, that's kind of an outlier, because it's probably going to be that you get more drones, which is another system that we're going to have to start fleshing out pretty soon, right? Because we've now proof of concept, the research, and all of that stuff. Right? Now, these are for one item only. So if we wanted to do it, we'd have to set up the research to have more inputs. And then we'd have to do an extra bit of programming from that point of view. But the basic functionality here is working. Well, actually, the simple way to do it is that you can fabricate Science 2, but Science 2 requires one of Science 1 plus something else, possibly. Right? So you would basically be still putting the same things into the research lab, right? But it would be the fabricators that actually make the more complicated science, if you get my point. It's kind of like the opposite of factorial, right? Factorial, each of the different sciences all go in to the research lab at the end, right? So you've got, let's say, 6 different types of science, right? What I'm saying here is, as you move through the different researches, that you actually make more of the initial one, right? So let's say you start off with green, right? And green costs you, let's say, copper sheet and iron sheet, right? And that creates type 1 research. Okay, well, in the way factorial works, and I'm not trying to do it exactly the same way, but the way factorial works is that you then need to create that research continuously. Right? Whereas what I'm saying is that you could do that, but to make the next level of research, basically what you would do is that the green would be required to make the red, right? Rather than creating, well, you would still be creating like 5 different research types, but they wouldn't all end at the research lab. They would all feed into another fabricator, so that then you could make, like, let's say the green, you made a green plus a PCB would make you red, which would be type 2, right? So you would still need to create the green, but it wouldn't be fed directly into the research plant. It would be fed into another fabricator to make green, so that you could then feed the green into the research lab, if you get what I'm saying. So just a little bit of a difference there, but a difference all the same. A small difference, but a difference all the same, is what I mean to say. So what we can do is we can set all of these up, right? Now that means that all of these now have a research type 1. And if there's anybody out there that wants to tell me some product that I should have in the product chain, then let me know. Right, so press play, then we go new game, right? Then we need our probe. and we need our buildings, and we shall build away. We've got a smelter, then a fabricator, and finally our research lab. Okay. And there we go. We can start with this. Right. We can do all of our recipes, and then I knew that was going to be copper ore, but anyway. And we'll take it from there. And this time we've got bauxite, so that's fine. So we shall speed up our smelter first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I shouldn't have done that. 11, 12. Right, so what we're getting now is this is going to go pretty fast. So we're going to go smelter, right? Okay. We'll just check out the actual speed at what this goes. Now this is going to be fairly slow to start with, right? Because we're not going to start with any additional workers. And the thing that's slowing us right down at the moment is these sheets, right? Because these have got a processing time of 2 seconds, right? So this is the thing that we want to speed up first, and hopefully that will happen, right? And we don't want to zoom in and out there. So we should be beginning. Yep. So how are you guys today? In the chat, how's it going for you guys? And as you can see, for me, it's going pretty well. This is looking pretty good. we have another one of these. Oh, that's an interesting one. I've got them at processing time 0, so I don't actually know what's going to happen here. If they're going to immediately work or not. Which is obviously going to be a bit strange, but we should have used a calculator or a stopwatch on this, to be honest. Right, so these should now be coming out 10% faster. Right, so if we look here, it's got cycle speed, which is 2 seconds, which is correct. But that's because we're not doing the calculation. So we actually need to do the calculation on that. Now, is this, you see this isn't researching. Right, now I know why that is. And that's because I haven't set up the processing time. For right, so we just need to go down these and basically do it. Right, so, and this is the benefit of data tables, where I don't need to change any code once it's all set up. I just basically go down the data tables, and it's going to be the same for this. Like if all the level 2s, right, make that 10. Actually, we'll make it 10. These are different anyway, but we're not going to worry about the probes for now. Right? But we can just basically set them up again. And we can bin that one. Right, and we add this one back in. I don't even think we need this, but we'll go with it anyway. Right, so we just say research type 1, change it to 10. We delete this one. Then we can add this one in. But the beauty of the system here is that I can make these anything. They can be research type 1, they can be copper, they can be widgets, they can be anything I like, right? And the whole thing will still work. That's the reason you basically flesh out these systems. So that once you've got it all tied down, it's just a matter of changing some changing the data in the data table. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to build this again, but then we're going to save it, right? Because we don't really want to build this 150,000 times. Right? So we can set that. Can set that. We can set that. Spin these around. That's copper ore, but we can save it at that point. But we're going to have to create another copper ore, basically. Sorry, another mine. Once we've got our other mine, we should be ready to go, and that's the right mine. That's a bauxite, so that's cool. I'll need to move this out of the way. Right. Oh, we can hit the save there. Don't know what the save actually does to the drones. I don't think I actually saved the drones. Right, but and we research smelting. Just for the hell of it. Okay. So, like, as I said, this is an interesting part, right? Now, if we say we're at 35 minutes at the moment, right? We can check out I'm just wondering how long it's actually going to take so we've got a barrel there. So remember, this is bauxite, this is iron ore. And to be honest, we shouldn't have done it this way. Now that I think about it, we should have done mining first, right? Oh, this is going to take a long time if I just sit and let it do this. Right, because we're still on nothing. Alright, so we're going to give it a little helping hand. Okay, we're going to add 4 workers. Right, so that should give us a little bit more speed. And the thing we should do is we should max out mining first. right? And once we've maxed out mining, then we should move to smelting. Yep, and we're going to have to take care of this as well. Close that. And what we got? Still nothing. Yeah, this is going to take a bit of time. There's our first one. There's our second one. So our smelting is going up. We can see it going up, which is cool. Right, and I think we need one more to get the smelting up. But I don't think that's even going to help us, to be honest. Yeah, we actually do need the smelting up. Right, so we actually do need smelting too on the go. Right. Now, this is kind of interesting, right? Because in the end, if you want to be really pragmatic about it, right? If this goes on Steam, you don't want, or you want to make sure that any players have to play for at least 2 hours, right? So you've got to keep it at least semi-interesting for 2 hours. Because then they can't do a refund. I know that's a bit cynical, but that is kind of how it goes. So that's pretty cool so far. Right, have we got? Yep, we've started. And we're probably not doing our we're gonna have to update our building things, because this should actually say the cycle speed would actually be 2 seconds minus 10%, right? So obviously it should be 1.8. Right, and then we multiply the workers to get that value as well. As you can see, our smelter 2 thing is working along, and it is the smelter that's slowing us down here. There is no doubt about that. We can check again to see what, right, so that's going well. Not much more. Then we get an extra 10%. And the maximum we can go to here is 30, I think. 30, I believe. So we're just about done with this. Now it appears, yep, it appears that this is now the issue. Okay. I think for the steel sheet it's using quite a lot, right? It's using like a 5 or something like that. It's a pretty weird one. I've made it quite a lot, but the thing here is we should be able to actually kind of change the mechanics of the game here of what is slow and what is not by doing the research, right? There's our smelting 2. Right, and it appears that we now need smelting 3. But having said that, okay, there's something not happening here. There's something full. Right, now this is... Right, so this is very interesting indeed. We're running out... We are getting log jammed in strange places here because this isn't getting enough to cover the time it takes to actually output. And this isn't outputting fast enough either to deal with demand, or to deal with this input. I'm thinking that this input is going full faster than this can output, but the 30% should actually alleviate the problem to a degree. Right, and this has started, so that's okay. So we can kind of speed this up now. Yep, that's getting filled up again. Right, so we really want to have a look at this smelter, to be honest, to see what's going on with it. Right, so let's have a look at that. Right, comp input. It's not full. So this actually needs stuff. Now it's obviously building up at this point. It's got the input. Comp output is nothing. Right, so it's the time it's taken to process this that's causing us the issue. And I think this is 5 seconds per. Right? I think the actual processing time on Iron Sheet is 5 seconds. Right, which tells me two things. Number one, this number's wrong. Right, it's wrong anyway because we should have bonuses, but it's not really telling us what those numbers are. Right, now you'll notice we've done smelting again. Right, and what we should have done, I mean, it's going to be quite cool anyway, right? So what we'll do is we'll bring that back up for you guys, and I'm going to go and grab a cigarette, so don't go anywhere. Hit the like and subscribe button, and do the usual. Check out the description for Discord, Patreon, and my previous game, and I shall be back in 2 minutes. Don't go. Okay guys, so I know what the problem is. The problem is anything, the bigger the process time, the more something is affected by the number of workers, okay? Because it's going to be exponential. Okay, so something that takes a second is only going to be affected for that 1 second, right? The 2 second thing basically means that if we actually look at this, we can see the efficiency of this is 31%, right? So fundamentally, that's going to take 6 seconds, right? And the 30% is only going to take us back to 4 seconds, right, on a smelter. So if I up the ante as far as the processing time goes now, we're at 93%, right? And you can see that these are coming out a heck of a lot faster. Okay, so it's an exponential issue calculation. So in actual fact, the calculations are working actually correct, right? Like, we will now see that our mining is now going to be faster. We can do our mining too, right? You'll notice that these aren't quite one apart now, one section of conveyor belt, right? And you'll notice that this is not stopping anymore. Right, but it might stop because this is full, right? But this is now putting them out as fast as it can, right? And I believe, let me just check this out. If I up that, that's now at 125. And this is now producing pretty fast. But what I want to see is what the actual number is here, right? So if I go back to my buildings, right, and I go to my smelter, and then I check this number here when it comes in, right? So if I now hit this button, I should be able to see what the time is on this loop. It's 2.6. Right? So we have 21, 16. Right, so this should say 1. That is correct. Our current process speed 1.3. Okay. So our calculation here is wrong. It's the wrong way round. Right, so it should actually be this to here, right? And we're going to have to check each of these. To make sure we've got this the right way around. So we've got it right in the minor, we know that. So the refiner, we need to check this. And again, this is the wrong way around. Right, so this should be in here. This should be in here. Okay. And so we've done the smelter. And now we need the fabricator. So these are going to be the same thing. Right, we'll drag that down. Do that. And finally, I believe the metal works. I mean, we could do it like that. It's a bit tidier. Drag that across a bit. That should be in there. That should be in there. And that should be here. Then we can drag this down a bit. Save that. And we shall check our research station, which is going to be a little bit different because it's actually in the BPC actor. Right. And yep, again. We need to move this a bit. And this should go in here. And this should go in here. Drag that out a little bit. Suppose we could leave that there. Right. So that is now sorted out. And that should now work better. And with that in mind, we should be able to press play, continue. Well, this should be nothing. Yep. And we need to restart because the research saves itself. Okay. Don't know why it's doing that. So I'm not worried about that at this point. Covered the cell up there. Right. Finally, our research. Okay. So we set up our okay, no research selected. So we really need to go with smelting first. Turn that around, turn that around. Change that to iron. That's fine. And as usual, it's the wrong thing. Build that. While that's doing that, we shall join these up again. Right. And off we go, and hopefully now this next one will be not that. Okay. So that's kind of not awesome. But we just got to keep going. Well, this is the right one. So we're off to the races now once this is built. Just got to wait on it getting built. And off it'll go. So we're going to do 5 workers there. Get this fired up. So, what do you guys think so far of the game? It's beginning to come together, so we've got a couple of tweaks to do to the conveyor belts, but our recipes are working, our drones are working, but I've got an idea how to do this for the miners and stuff. We have our little guys running around in squads. We now have our research tree functional and giving out rewards which work, which is obviously a good thing. Yeah, this seems to be better. and we need and it's yep, that's okay. Right, so here comes our first, I believe it's our first research. Let's see what we've got here. Still not exactly rapid. We'll speed this up a bit and see how this. Certainly got another bit of research there, and another bit there. So we probably need another one. Right. And there is our smelter done. And now we go smelter 2. And we'll enable the breakpoint here. And it may actually be at this point that this is too slow, right? This is definitely going a lot faster. Well, it's going 10% faster in actual fact. Right, and this is definitely outputting faster, so that's all working well. We just want to confirm this. Right, so you can see it outputting. Okay. So that's 2. Two times 0.31. So that's 0.37 divided by 1.2. So that's 0.31. Right, wait a minute. That's not right. That ain't right at all. So it should be 2 seconds This should not be multiplied by. It should be this divided by this. Right, now, in theory, if we press play, hi Dante, how are you, mate? Now, I can only see this now, that this input is empty, right? That is the only explanation for this. That this input is empty. Yeah, it's pretty much empty. Right, and that's the recipe input. So we look at comp input and you can see there our quantities empty. So the thing that's deciding the speed of this is how fast this is going, right? Now, this number here should not, at this point, be 0.62. Right, this should be well over 1. Right? So this number here what's the specs of your machine, Dante? So it should be that divided by that. Right? I mean, my machine's only an i5. Right, so we're going to test this again. We're going to have to test it again because there's something weird going on. We're going to have to get this final calculation right. Because we're going to also have to use it for the cycle speed when we're displaying the cycle speed. Right, now I don't think we actually even need to build right, we can resume that for now. Right, the thing we're worried about is when we change the number of workers and when we change the actual process. Right, so now the number of workers So that's 1 out of 16. So this is going to be a 0.06. Right? And this divided by 1. So this number is 32 seconds, right? Okay. So if we hit the L button, this number should go down. Current process speed is 1. So we get 0.125. Divided by, so one worker basically gives us a huge lift. Right, so that was 32 seconds, then 16 seconds, and now it's 10 seconds. A 980 Ti, well actually two 980 Ti's. Oh yeah, and they're water cooled. Right, so that does actually seem to be working. Right. I don't know why I stopped that there. That was kind of stupid. Right, but what we're going to have to do is check it within the reward, research reward, to make sure that the number is actually correct. Right, so we know it starts off at 32, right? Yeah, but it doesn't make any difference in what do you call it? Unreal Engine. And my neighbours once again deciding to have a shouting match and a banging of doors and gates match outside, which is always nice, especially when you're trying to concentrate on something. Right, so we're going on smelting, right? And we got the bauxite, lucky break this time, so we can save that. And we're going to have to leave this running to see what actual speed we get. Now we know It depends. It'll be depend what it's what if it's running at full capacity, if both cards are running, or if it's being stressed, or if it's having to try and overclock or whatever. Not even sure if I've got it overclocked at the moment. I think I took the overclock off. Can't remember. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. Can't remember. And I can't even remember the size of the power supply. I think it's 800 watts, maybe. The power supply, I'm not sure. It's 750 or 800, can't remember. Right, so we're at 32, right? We can speed this up. And it's still going to be fairly close, slow, but we'll get it speeded up anyway. So remember guys, if you're enjoying the stream, hit the like and subscribe button, always helps. While we wait for this to update, and then I can check this number again to see if it goes down by 10%. So it should go down 3.2 seconds, so it should go down to 28.8 or something. Wow. Wow, this is impressively slow. Right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're down to 5.33, right? And at least now this is going up. Right, let's see what it says now. Still on 5.33, which is what we expect until we get our little flashy thing comes up. Oh, we need one more. Right, go. Right, so we should be getting it in a minute. And there we go, it fired it. And that's went up. That number just went up. Yeah, well, I think you're going about it the wrong way. A height map's nothing to do with it. Right, what you need to do is model it in 3D. Visualize what your icon looks like in 3D. And don't try, at first you shouldn't be trying to texture it, because you'll be texturing it differently. Right, so this number isn't right. Right, and I'm gonna have to have a think about this for a second. Right, I shall be right back. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, guys, we're back, and I need to check something here, right? Because I think I'm getting this the wrong way around, right? This current process speed, what is it? It's 1.1, right? So, in actual fact, this calculation is wrong, right? What we should be doing is it should be that divided by that, right? And then it should be divided by that. Right? And then that should go in there. That is my final calculation on it. I'm saying that works. Put it this way, Dante, you're not going to be able to make those icons into 3D with just the textures. It's just not going to happen. Right? You're going to have to imagine your icons as 3D objects and model them as such. And then you're going to put your textures on top of that, on top of your model. Right? Because, as I said, a height map and a normal map just gives you the facade. Of actual height existing. And it only goes so far anyway. So if we go back to our refiner and we delete that and we paste that, then that goes into there and that goes into there. Okay? Then same thing in our fabricator. That goes into there and that goes into there. Save that. Then similarly in our metalworks we do exactly the same thing, believe it or not. Right, so that goes in there. Whoops. That goes in there. That goes in there. Save that. And in our BPC research, we do it slightly differently. We're going to paste in our stuff. Now that's probably not going to work in Blender, right? The way I said it before is you can do something, you can do it in sorry, you can do it in Substance Painter, right? But you would need the model first. right? And then I would just, then what you would do is you would just basically project your texture onto the model. But it's kind of not the same thing as what you're talking about in Blender. It's a kind of a different process. As I said, that's what it's called in what do you call it? Substance Painter. It's projecting. You project a texture onto a model. But it's not the same as applying a texture onto a model. It's different. Right, so that's, I believe that's all of our, so we've done the refiner, we've done the fabricator, we've done the metalworks, we've done the research, and there's one more, the smelter. We've done the smelter. Right, so as I said, what you'd have to do is you'd have to give me the image, the texture, and you'd have to give me the model, and then what I could do is load it into Substance Painter and then project your texture onto the model and see if that would actually work. Now, I'm not even 100% sure it would work, but it's worth a try. Right, so we're gonna test this again. Right. Please be bauxite. I knew it wouldn't be. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if you can do it in Blender, but it's like a special mode in Substance Painter. It's kind of like stamping. And what it actually does is it shows you the picture over the top of the model that you're working with. And you've got to line it up exactly and stuff like that. I mean, to be honest, those two things might be different. Projection might be different. It might have a different meaning in Blender than it does in Substance Painter. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're smelting. And we're going to zoom in here. And that's our 5.33. And we'll speed it up. So hopefully this will well, there we go, we've got one research going. And this is just a matter of getting this calculation right, which I think I have done this time. Got to remember this is 5.33. Reach smelting is now 4.84. So that is now correct. So if we research that, that's 4.84, and our smelting is going up. There we go. And it should be finished soon. So what are we on? 4.84. Right, and this is now 4.44. So it is getting faster. So it's about a second faster or something. But at the moment, so we're still on 4.44, right? And we've now got smelting 3, and we're now on 4.1. So it's brought it down quite a bit. But the major factor here is the number of workers you've got. right? And I shouldn't have done that. But anyway, I'm going to call it there, guys. If you've enjoyed the stream, hit subscribe, hit like, and check out the description for Discord. You're welcome to join. And to support the channel, there is a Patreon link and a link to my game on Steam in the description. So enjoy your afternoon, guys. I shall see you tonight again at 8 PM Central. Bye bye for now.